Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the WGL EU week number 11, day 1, halfway through, or almost halfway through our last week of normal play. And I tell you what, it is still delivering. From woe to go, we're still getting some fantastic results there. Obviously, that second match, a little bit one-sided there, but incredible work from No Mercy to take it 5-0.
Unbelievable. I mean, they've had 2 5-0s this season, which is basically, you know, an amazing result for them, because a lot of teams, even the top teams, have struggled to get 5-0s. It's normally like 5-1, 5-2s when you see like a more of a landslide victory, but No Mercy 5-0ing ASAP, now 5-0ing Ding, who have been pretty good this season and absolutely got rid of their chance to go in towards the pre-playoffs, which will be happening this Saturday and Sunday. So, I mean, a massive prop to them. I think No Mercy now really do deserve to go up a few more places and stay out of those automatic relegation spots.
That's right, and it is possible as well. A few more results need to come through. Of course, ASAP are yet to play their last game, and you know, they have had similar woes to what No Mercy has throughout the course of this season. So it's conceivable, I guess, that they could bring up a win here. Let's have a look at the games that we've had coming up next week, of course. ASAP and Stroxima, that is an important game. In fact, they are all so important in the terms of the final standings here as well. Talk me through this Tornado Rocks Kazna Crew conflict.
Well, it's a game for second place, and I mean, Tornado Rocks already on second place. You can see here on the table. And Kazna Crew, if they get the 3 points, they'll moving up to 25 points. Tornado's on 24 points. First Pro have played their last game today. So, you know, they will be going into that position, and it's going to be one hell of a match. That match was supposed to happen today, but of course it didn't because of rescheduling, as Tornado Rocks wanted to have the whole lineup there, just because they know that that match is so important.
Absolutely. So that's going to be one to watch on Thursday night. Of course, the culmination of this season, and it's crazy that we have such close brackets amongst our ladder. Things could still be decided on the last night. It's going to be super exciting. But again, this game as well has its own degree of importance. Supreme going up against Synergy. Two of arguably the best teams this season. And Synergy are well and truly on the up and up in these last couple of weeks after their games. I mean, you know, they've made some changes to their team sort of line up. But then there's Supreme, who have just been consistent every step of the way. Yeah,
they've been just unbelievable. I mean, 10 wins in the bag. They're looking absolutely on point. If they win this match, they'll have the 11 wins. Of course, they've had a couple of tiebreakers in there. Of course, last week saw them going 5-4 against Virtus Pro, the Russian giants. And, you know, they are on point to beat Synergy right now. They are definitely going to the finals in first place. There's no way anyone can catch them. For Synergy, it's more about, where are they going to go? Are they going to go into like a slightly lower position in that top 6? Or they're going to go up in third place if they do win this match. Yeah,
Synergy, I mean, winning this game will give them equal points with Tornado Rocks, but the for and against will still be with Tornado. So they can't make second place at this point in the season. Tornado Rocks have just won too many games by too commanding a margin.
Yep.
But still, getting up into third place will be great, and that is quite possible with a win here, or even a point here as well. It might be enough. But it's Synergy. You know, like these guys have shown the ability. They have been a little bit flaky here, I said, and they're another team that have been hard to predict the way that they've been going. Whereas Supreme have just been such a constant factor. Like, no one's really been able to, with confidence, go against them.
No, I mean, it's just impossible to beat them right now. We've only seen them online, and of course, offline's a totally different factor. And we could see them at the offline finals just getting absolutely wrecked in the semi-finals and then getting thrown out of the tournament. So that's totally a possibility. But here on the online phase, they've just been unstoppable. Again, 11 wins in the bag, 2 tiebreaker wins, and now looking for their 11th and final win of the season to securely cement themselves. But, you know, I think Synergy, you mentioned, they do have the possibility to go up in third place. You know, if Kazna Crew don't win on Thursday, they will basically knock Kazna Crew out of that like top 3 spot, which doesn't make a massive difference. Of course, you see, you know, Kazna are capable of beating Tornado. It just depends if they turn up on the day.
That's right. Ron has had some interesting things to say about the teams in the season so far. Let's get his thoughts on Synergy.
Synergy. This team is very special in this season. They have a very experienced captain, which likes some vicious tactics, but from the other hand, the personal performance of some players is still questionable. Anyway, this match is going to be interesting. Let's get down to this.
Fairly straightforward stuff there from Ron. He always a sense of confidence with him coming into these games, but he's always saying it'll be a good match. He's always saying to tune in as well. Very upbeat in sort of his comments on this game. Melly, votes are coming in now. We do reiterate to people, of course, that they can win themselves some bonus codes by getting involved.
Absolutely. Just predict the scoreline for this matchup over at facebook.com/WGLEU. And maybe if you're one of the first 3 correct predictions, you might win a bonus code containing 500 gold and 8 days of premium. And currently it's 79% for Supreme.
Okay.
So
yeah, I'm not surprised by that, considering their record so far this
absolutely.
season.
I mean, they're absolutely unbeatable, unbeaten yet. But I don't think unbeatable. Do you think Synergy could actually make it?
Well, Synergy doesn't need to win this match. They would like to, but they don't need to win it, so I'm not sure exactly how much they would have prepared for it. I mean, of course, they're going to prepare a lot, and if they do win it, they're going to have a better chance, like 10%, maybe 5%. I would give them a better chance of going towards the final. So I guess you can say there's something online here, and Synergy have been on form, getting better and better through the season. So yeah, I mean, for sure.
But I think Supreme would also like to close this season with an absolute clean slate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is though, about Supreme, yes, over those lower teams, dominant, have been dominant. But Rox and Virtus Pro have forced tiebreakers against Supreme. So this is a team that is losing rounds to these top teams, or these other top teams, and they're not infallible, they're not invincible. They're winning that one crucial tiebreaker map. That's all they're doing. It could happen to anyone. But let's have a look, of course, at our first map for tonight, or the first time we're going to see it, should I say. It's going to be the map of Mines.
Mines, a small summertime map with lots of hills, rocks and other cover. The teams start the battle in the usual locations. But the base locations are different. One is located in the bottom part of the village, and the other one is in the water. The key directions here are the hill and the island. That's why the teams will often select fast vehicles and tanks with strong turrets.
Well, the first time we've seen Mines tonight, and it's bound to be a cracker with these two teams both in that top bracket of teams for this season. It is Synergy going up against the unbeaten Team Supreme. Synergy starting on the defense in red.
Yeah, so I mean, Synergy hasn't played this one for a while, and they've really run the last 4 matches in a row. They've been a tiebreaker in there, but they've been absolutely on point. Whilst we've seen Team Supreme play this one, of course, against the Giants of Virtus Pro, where they went 2-2, an attacking and defensive round apiece. But I really did tip Virtus Pro to win that one, and to be honest, they were the better team here on Mines. Just a couple of mistakes gifted the rounds towards Team Supreme. So they definitely are weaker on this map. Maybe that's the reason why Synergy has picked this one up as their map of choice.
Really was super close here, and I'll be interested to see now what Synergy can do in this case. I mean, the setup is here, okay? They're sitting quite far back and they didn't even up on that hill. That's a very tricky spot here. Luckily, Shanish has that hard head and can avoid those shots coming in towards him. But Supreme have moved up onto the hill, but they've also taken control of the eastern side as well. Synergy, however, have not even bothered with those islands on the west.
No, so this is a very, very defensive lineup from Synergy. Not lineup. Well, it is, I guess it's a defensive lineup as well. Triple IS3. They got the T-54s there and an FV304, but it's just more the kind of positioning they're in. We've seen this position here from Nidden before, from a team before, but it didn't work out for them so well. I think this might have actually been something which Wusa tried unsuccessfully to do, maybe even Penta. And, well, obviously it didn't work out. They managed to get up there in time, and it did cause them so much trouble here. So let's see how it works out. I still think Team Supreme are in a good position right now. They still got the hill. Some damage just head towards Griffin, one of the better players against Virtus Pro last week. And Team Supreme are setting up for a right side cap.
Griffin has to know that he's constantly lit there by Zamika, who is within proxy spotting distance. Be able to keep him constantly lit up. And now Zamika, he'll be the first on site if they want to head towards the eastern side, but Supreme have such a strong hold on both sides of this eastern valley. They are present. Apoel Nuclear getting some shots in towards the southern side here. Synergy have to respond to this. This is where we need to see more than the pre-game strats, more than the set plays. We need to see the adaptation mid-round, because Supreme are going to put pressure on Synergy right now, and they're going to force a response. Synergy had better hope it's the right one.
What's interesting is that Team Supreme aren't sending their one T-54 up there because they got such a high, heavy setup. they've really got to try and, you know, use more of those kind of slower tactics. And yeah, Ron sitting in that MX-12 ton, which is basically going to be impossible to spot because it's such a small vehicle with such good camo value. But I still think, you know, Team Supreme could be in trouble if they get flanked around from the side by the kind of 2 T54 lightweights, which Synergy have in a position which can flank. Obviously, Nidin's up on that hillside, so he's not in such a great position. It will be bad for them. And also, you know, the FV304, very fast, very quick reload, can easily shoot over hills and buildings. So, you know, I think, you know, Synergy are in a good position here to decap.
All right, Ron is at the very back of that capture point here. Shots can be ringing through. It's still 60 seconds. That is a heck of a lot of time in terms of this game. A heck of a lot of time. Winnie the Pooh actually said that FV304 and is in a position to assist in this case. Synergy are taking their time here. Shanish, though, does get double tap. Some lovely shots coming out from the corner here. That's Nadine was up in that cheeky little spot on the hill, which we haven't seen, or at least I haven't seen before this season. And it's definitely paying off here as well. He might be getting HG'd as well. Shanish now taking 16 damage there.
Yeah, that's from the artillery.
All right, so the artillery is getting some splash on towards him here. And how long can Shanish and Griffin really afford to hold this position right now? They push another tank on towards the cap. A sense of urgency coming for Team Supreme.
Well, the problem is right now is that Synergy can get the resets, and Team Supreme will start running out of time. But 5 seconds left. This could be a bit of pressure onto Synergy. Let's see if they can get the decap.
The reset has to come in very, very soon there, and there it does as well. 54 lightweight was pushed in the back. That's Total Best. He got the shot towards Ron, and it's made all the difference right now. Phoenix is going to come in to clean Total Best up, but has he done his job? I think he might have there, as Total Best does at least pick up Ron. So Supreme don't have that expendable piece to push on towards that cap and let it tick down. And that's a damn good effort there from Synergy to get that reset. And honestly, they don't have to do a heck of a lot more. Supreme have abandoned this capture attempt with only 2 minutes and 20 seconds. It's going to get a little bit risky for them.
Yeah, Synergy are really playing to Team Supreme's weaknesses, just the heavy tanks. I mean, with the light tanks, you can just blast straight up and towards that northern spawn area where one is marked on the minimap. But with the heavy tanks, it's a lot harder when you have Ilya and Zemika on the side. So I think, you know, this is going very well for Synergy. They're still there in the hit points. It's despite the fact that Team Supreme have so many more heavy tanks, they just need to hang on.
1 minute and 50 seconds left, and you can see that Nuclear is going to be pushing up here. It's a good shot as well coming out from Applewell. And the artillery of Winnie the Pooh just hasn't made the impact he would have liked to this game. Outside of some of those initial splashes and first salvos, John Corleone is going to take a hit as well. Synergy do want to try and stay alive. They want to keep back away from these angry tanks. They have committed a lot of health points into getting the reset, into keeping Supreme away from getting that particular win condition satisfied. But now they have to be careful because Team Supreme have another option. There is a plan B. They're going to go for the throat here and try and kill all of those tanks. And Synergy right now don't really have the firepower to stand up with Supreme, so they just have to try and keep back. I don't really know if they have enough time for this one now, as they're going to get pushed on towards. And John Corleone as well. He's in a tough spot. Applewell does get double tapped here, but there goes John Corleone. He falls.
Yeah, 1 minute and 5 seconds seems like a long time now for Synergy. I guess it's if they can take down Nidin. He's going to be the real problem here for Team Supreme. Because, let's be honest, Winnie the Pooh only need to live for like another 20 seconds, and it'll be too late for Nidin for a tank to actually boost up to where Nidin is. I'm not sure if Nuclear can hit him. Yes, he can. Okay. That's game over.
Yeah, that's right. Nidin is not fully protected from that spot. It's not that strong. So Nuclear waits on the reload. He gets the shot towards Nidin. Nidin knows that he's done. Winnie the Pooh will be cleaned up as well in fairly short shrift. 40 seconds left, and it does tear on down. Nadine just has to await his fate. And there it is. Team Supreme started things off well against Synergy, but it wasn't bad at all. So, as I said, with these two teams on the map, the same that we saw with Supreme and with Virtus Pro, you don't get the standard. You don't get the generic, basic stuff on mines. These teams are constantly metagaming each other, and it gives you a very interesting round like that one.
Yeah, I mean, super close. I think, you know, Synergy, they've tried that kind of really backwards, super defensive tactic before, and it's actually not worked for them. So, I don't know. We'll have to see if they want to go for that same thing twice. But Team Supreme, they just managed to break them down second by second. They had 45 seconds left at the end of that round, which is quite a long time. Yeah, okay, Nidin's in a good position, but I think the problem is, you know, Total Best got wrecked on the side. Yeah, he managed to hit down Gron there in the MX-12T, but it just wasn't enough for them to actually win that round. You could see a little bit too little damage from Synergy, because once Mika and Ilya had gone down, there's just no protection from the flanks. You can get IS-3s from the front, the side, all sorts of directions coming onto you and just actually wrecking you down very, very quickly indeed.
The tricky part when going for those sort of Hail Mary resets is that it's very, very hard to get the reset and leave a mark on the opposition team and cripple them. You can't really have your cake and eat it too. You either reset or you chunk them down low enough that they have to move off the cap. If you're already forced to reset, things are already getting a little bit too close and you need to be careful. And a lot of teams follow up on that reset with an assault, with an all-in. And sometimes it does work because you already lost that tank. And yeah, you know, even in terms of health points, it might not make a big difference, but every time we see more guns in the game for a team that even has less hit points, it always ends up equalizing. It always ends up coming back to bite the team with less tanks in the bum. Look at Zamika getting double tapped right there. Totobest goes in for the reset. Now he gets it, but look at what Synergy are losing on the periphery here. Yeah,
so you can already see the amount of damage they've taken, but again, the problem is really a later stage. This is still going okay for Synergy. The problem is that Zamika and Elliot go down. Like, those two tanks really need to be there for Synergy, and Nuclear just gets some good engages here onto John Corleone, so when the flank does come around, it's just not good. I think John should have played that one slightly better. I can't help feel as well that the FE304 had a chance to run away at some point in time and maybe cause a little bit more time to go towards Synergy's favor, but it really does depend if Phoenix and that T-54 lightweight would have been there to intercept him, keep him locked down. But yeah, again, I think that super defensive tactic from Synergy it's a 742 kind of tactic on mines, and it just simply doesn't work anymore.
That's right. Yeah, it's a tactic where, you know, you can get away with that kind of play and you know, sneak a tank well and truly. Mines isn't a big map. It's not a big map. When there are lightweights as well, they cross mines incredibly quickly, in the same manner as steps, even more so. You know, so, look, I like the idea of Synergy there, but it's not a strategy that has punch. It's like a stall-out strategy. It's like, where was the follow-up after getting the reset? Did they have any choice but to try and wait it out? They lost the killer instinct, as you said, where those big tanks went down, when Zamika went down. It all happened in the space of about 10 seconds as well.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, I can't really say any more about that kind of that tactic. I think what was interesting as well, Team Supreme picking something super heavy up as well, like the IS-3s and the T-32s. Like, yeah, okay, we've seen some heavy tanks on this map before, but in the European League, at least, we haven't seen that like full-on heavy setup. Maybe like once, if that, this season. So interesting stuff. I think it worked out well, and it's probably a testament down to the fact that Synergy have been known to be defensive on this map on the defensive side, and Team Supreme just going forwards because they know they will never be in a situation where they're contested for positions on the map by light tanks, because they won't be like flanked around because Synergy's sitting in their own positions, staying safe.
Absolutely. Now, I do want to go over to our social media expert, Melly, on this one as well. See people getting their votes now. They're starting to see these games being played out, but it does look like Synergy lacking the bite to back up their bark.
Well, the vote is currently heavily in favor for Supreme, 77%. So people... Well, it's obvious, 77% speaks for itself. People have faith in Supreme. And if we have a closer look on the single votes, we actually see a lot of 5-0 and 5-1s. I would have expected a much closer match, to be honest.
Me too.
And from the views of the community. So people, if you haven't voted already, head over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/WGLEU, to get in your votes. And yeah, a couple of 5-3s. That's more the direction I would be going, to be honest. Do you know what Carmen said?
Carmen said it was quite even, actually. I think 55-45.
50-50?
What a surprise. Yeah, close. Close, not quite.
Well, I'll check that out later. I actually can retweet it. So follow us at WGLEU over on Twitter to get all those retweets and tweets and other tweeties and tweeties. And
retweet
tweeters.
the tweet that says retweet this tweet?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Retweet this tweet to retweet this tweet. What?
Yeah.
That says retweet this tweet.
Yeah.
That's way too
was a
much
line.
for my German tongue to handle. Let's go to tschechische Streichholzkästchen. We had that one point last season.
Yeah. Someone tried to make me say that. I couldn't
Tschechische.
No, I'm not going to try it. I'm not going to try it. Too much of your tongue.
That's pretty
At least you're learning fighty line. That's pretty awesome.
He's
I'll
trying
learn a
to
lot.
not learn fighty line. That's the thing.
That
He doesn't want it to be a mistake. No?
He's been referred as Soggy Cat in Twitch chat.
Soggy cat, wet
Yes.
line. It all makes sense. Oliver just likes to think, yeah, well, I mean, it's stuck now, so next.
Yeah, exactly. Next.
It's pretty much got it now.
Easy.
Actually, I did have Paul as well tweeting a picture as well, a bit of an interesting one. I don't know if we can bring that up. I think we have some.
It's one of the few that Mitch gets tweeted.
I actually get singled out for this one here, so if production will probably pop it up here for me as we do jump into this next map. It's something I brought up earlier on the night as well about how high my voice can go, which is funny because I normally talk...
And so fast!
Yeah, that's just something I always have done. There's not much I can do about that. So, but what I've got it done now is like fast and really slow, so you just don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes you're going to be like... Wee. Sometimes it's going to be really, really fast. So
you're like a pasta, like.
Yeah, pretty much. So, old family photo reveals where Mitch discovered his high-pitched casting voice and his love for World of Tanks. I don't quite know how that has much to do with me loving tanks. If I was a choir boy...
Choir boys get...
Aren't those the singer,
get the
singing children?
Get the old... They get the thing is about choir boys in the UK. I actually was a choir boy at one point.
Yeah, that explains so much.
So you only for a very short period. You sing until about the age of 12. Your voice breaks and you never sing again, and that's why they're always very young.
I see.
Or you get this. I don't think you get the snip anymore.
I don't. Yeah, that might even be a myth. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that's an urban legend.
I don't know. I don't know too much about Snip. He wasn't even playing tonight.
He wasn't playing.
I'm not sure. We're going to jump into this one now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, on to our next iteration of Minds. And this way we can see the game and you won't see Ollie being dragged out by the producer in between. But here we go. Synergy with the 3 Ice 3s here. Much of a change at all here, Oliver?
Well, slightly faster lineup from Supreme. They got 2 more T54 lightweights, but I think just a lot more standard for them. But I think Synergy as well, playing more aggressive, a lot more hill engagements here. Does catch out Team Supreme at the early stages of this match, as they are receiving a couple more heading towards Apwell. Finally, one does respond on Total Best, but the damage has been done. Team Supreme down a few shells right now. They have to start contesting for somewhere, otherwise they are going to be losing the hit points game.
Shanish getting slapped around a little bit there as he's, in that fairly common spot to sort of watch out people as they push towards the hill. The best tank to have in that role, but not when he's at half health. However, Total Best now getting some damage back on towards him. A good response here from Team Supreme, but they've decided they might not want to go for this hill in totality, should I say. As they pull back, you see Nuclear now getting a bit battered as he tries to get back. John Corleone, though, they've got the flank. Supreme are in that island here. They can do a lot of damage to Shanish now, just having to back away a little bit. Gets a shot towards Nadine. Shanish gets a finish on John Corleone here. And that's a great use of that Western Island, but teams do it all the time. And Synergy wasn't ready for it now. Iliot is caught on that hill. Yes, Nadine gets the finish on towards Shanish. FC Dynamo Nuclear forced to back away. That was a very, very close engagement. Both teams still with 5 each. Both teams within 100 health points of each other.
But Nadine can just push off this hill, and Nuclear and FC Dynamo are done for because Phoenix and Apwell aren't near the engagement.
That's right. And the shot, I don't know if they really connected there from Winnie the Pooh, but Nadine can go straight towards FC Dynamo, takes him down. Then RU251, not exactly a brawler. And now Nadine and Iliot going to get the finish on towards Nuclear. That name is going to give me nightmares. But Synergy now. More tanks, less health. Guns in the game is what it's all about. And Zamika is well and truly out of position. There's not a heck of a lot he can do except kill Ron now, pushing quite up aggressively. And that's going to be enough, to be honest, because he's Supreme now, only with Phoenix, only with Applewell. This are the 2 guys pushing on towards the island. They did a good amount of damage onto the flank, but it wasn't quite enough.
And Applewell going first is a bit of a careless mistake. It should always be the tank with the most hit points that goes first to try and spread it evenly across the 2. But still, Zamika will get one more shell before he does fall, but he will be a tank in favour of Team Supreme finally.
2 bounces off the front of Zamika there. Shots coming in from Toto Best. Hyloft didn't exactly find their mark spectacularly either. But Synergy now, no, they've got the numbers here, but they've got to be really careful. If they get picked off one by one, this could be very, very ugly. And Nadine chipping in as well. Synergy now just trying to chunk down these last 2 tanks of Supreme. They can do it. Their health is low, and all Supreme have is just those 2 guns now. You can see Synergy just backing away, letting the damage be done by Winnie the Pooh on the artillery there. Phoenix looking for Nadine, not able to connect here, and they're just going to chip away at those last 2 tanks. Applewell and Phoenix have nothing left to do but huddle together for warmth, because it's going to be a cold, cold finish to this game.
Yeah, game over. I mean, it was game over when Phoenix and Applewell were just left on their own towards that western side. And yeah, Synergy will take the win. A little bit premature on that old win swipe, but win swipe. But yeah, I mean, come on, let's be honest here. It's just going to be about a matter of time. Let's see if Winnie the Pooh can hit the shell. Applewell trying to do the best he can. I mean, he's done miracles before. He was in a 3 versus 1 situation on Himmelsdorf and managed to win it. But still, this is a 5 versus 1. A little harder.
Yeah, and Nadine is, they've got him canvassed out here as well. Applewell can't really do much. The one advantage is that he wasn't lit.
That bounced, boys.
I think that bounced off, and that might even been blind right now. Nadine and Total Best are lit. Applewell, from what we can tell, is not lit. And Zamika can't really spot him unless he gets a little bit closer, gets that line of sight on him there. And Applewell's been alive a hell of a lot longer than he should have been, really. But he won't be able to finish Zamika easily, I don't think. I mean, a decent roll will get in there, but it won't be easy. And then there's still Nadine Mihailov and the firing squad to face him right now. But this is time that he's buying for his team, time that they can use to strategize, to talk about the next map here. Supreme had a good start, but Synergy are going to steal away a defensive round here. And that's not too bad at all. And you can see, this is the kind of situation Applewell's in. This is how surrounded he is. Applewell can't even go for Samika there because he does have a shell ready to go, and Mihailov will get the finish on towards Applewell, and that is one apiece here. And this match, honestly, again, in the trend that we've seen from our top 4 teams, has been close. These matches have been close. Yeah. I'd love to see another tiebreaker here. I think I think Synergy, sorry, are capable of it. Yeah,
I mean, that was really good from Synergy. I mean, classic stuff from them. They got some initial shells across towards Applewell. They took him pretty low. Then they were just like, okay, we can get the overmatch here. They had the artillery down low with Mihailov there in the IS-3. They had the rest of their tanks just pushed straight across the middle. Got really good engagement, great shots at the beginning. Put them ahead by about 500-600 hit points. Shanish getting peaked constantly. They took the hill, did great damage against Shanish. Then it was just chunk by chunk by chunk. They were just taking each piece of Team Supreme apart. Team Supreme super careless. They got, those two T-54s did one job. They managed to get a kill onto the hill, but Synergy were just too quick to the to the punch, basically. Yeah, that's right. And got to give it to Synergy as well, a team that generally is more happy to sit back and let teams play into their hands. Applewell and Phoenix are in a great spot right now, but it doesn't matter because Nadine and Elliot just push on to FC Dynamo Nuclear. They're like, well, they're low. We can get away with this. It's 4 versus 2 situation right now because, I mean, Shani should have stayed alive a lot longer. Nadine, I mean, really good play by him, takes down FC Dynamo. And then it's a simple job of, just taking down Nuclear. And FC Dynamo and Phoenix and Applewell even just kind of there on their own towards that western side. Again, I just think it was about that initial engagement. Good peaks by Synergy, getting that early damage, and then just pushing that advantage, going forwards, getting off the hill, and taking down the rest of Team Supreme. And one of the biggest changes, as you sort of already alluded to, is that they're being proactive now. They're making moves. They're coming forward as well, especially when they know they have the advantage. One thing about Synergy that has always stood them in good stead is that they can read a game very, very well. They know when they have an advantage. They know when they can push forward. Normally, they're less inclined to do that. They're less inclined to go super aggressive. You always see players like Zamika playing a 110 or an IS-3 or T-32. He's not a super aggressive player. He doesn't really want to get into the opponent's face, but he knows when he sort of has to activate, where he sort of has to wake up and push on with the rest of his team. And the best part about Synergy is that they can do this as a unit. But let's talk about Supreme here, because it seems like a lot of the rounds that they lose are purely on the basis of these mistakes that they're making. It's careless. Is it cocky, or just them not accounting for everything here? Because they should be not making these mistakes. I think they just made the wrong move. Like the two T-54s over on that western side without having like 2 IS-3s of their own, or like a T-32 and an IS-3 to go hull down. So it was just really easy for Synergy to pick off that AMX 5100, which is a normal position for him. Just too easy for Synergy to do what they wanted to do without Team Supreme getting damage on the hill. But anyway, we can jump into our next round. Third round here on Mines. One apiece so far. Both teams looking like they can potentially win. And to be honest, this is a Synergy, as you mentioned, which we haven't seen before. Without Stalker as their head, with John Corleone as their head, Synergy have won 2 5-0s. They've lost 1 game here, but they are looking like a lot better team who have been getting the results they desperately need. And potentially, this is the reason why they're in this playoff spot. One thing about Synergy is that they step up when they have to. I think about their game against Virtus Pro. That was a decimation. We don't expect the same to happen in this case. However, we do expect Synergy to be bringing something special for us, treating us all to some fantastic World of Tanks action. And so far, they haven't disappointed, as they are slowly making their way up towards the hill here. Now, Elliot and Nadine are making their way up. Nadine was lit, so was Elliot. Probably more from making the shots. As, the FC Dynamo is over there with Applewell and Phoenix. Those 54 lightweights can spot tanks this far away, but it's not super easy. And you can see Zamika now was on the island. He's actually going to back away here. You can see the Team Supreme have definitely taken up residence there. And Synergy, slow and steady, wins the race. They make their way onto the hill. They've taken only 1 shot of... Okay. Now that's the caster's curse. Sorry, Nadine, my bad. Nadine takes 3 as he pushes up there.
but they have the heal.
But he expected that as well. I mean, Nidin's just thinking, yeah, okay, I'm going to do as best as I can to get the timings right so I can get up the hill. But Iliot got the better of those timings, managed to get on the hill with the T-54 undamaged. Nidin obviously has to take the 3 shells unless Team Supreme would miss, which doesn't really happen that often. So Synergy did what they need to do to get the hill information, the kind of advantages that come with hill, you know, having control over that whole map. Doesn't matter if it's north, south, east or west. So really they are now in a good position again. And you know, correct myself, Synergy hasn't lost a match so far with John Corleone. 2 5-0s and a 5-3. So they've just been on point. Absolutely amazing. I mean, 5-0 ding is just a formidable result by them. And, you know, I hate to say it, but I think they could have been a top 2 team if they've had those kind of results since the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I mean this change for them all started when they narrowly beat No Mercy in a tiebreaker 5-4. That was when they started to realize that we have to change something if we really want to be competitive in this later part of the season. It obviously wasn't a great result. Credit, of course, to No Mercy, but still definitely not a result we were expecting. It was very, very tight of a matchup. But Synergy here going for a similar setup to what we saw from Team Supreme in that first round. Take the hill, work onto the Eastern Village, but it seems like there's no inclination to make any move towards a cap yet.
Yeah, so let's see what they can do. I mean, the thing is, Team Supreme have lost those early exchanges. Apart from the initial damage, I would say this is definitely going towards Synergy's favor. Now, let's see what they can do. I think, you know, the obvious move is that eastern side push, which is basically the one which you've seen time and time again. You can see that Team Supreme are aware of that. They got Shanish in the 5100 in a great position down and towards the southeastern side. He's really going to be a problem for Synergy if they do push, because he's going to find one of those T-54 lightweights. Nuclear just needs support from FC Dynamo in the background with his T-54 lightweight, and it should be going the way of Synergy, Team Supreme even. But I guess it would depend on what Nidin can do in that T-32 in the middle and what the AMX 5100 of Total Best can do as well. So they've got a lot of things going for them. I just really want to see what happens with this first kind of push from Synergy. Where do they come from? Do they come springing off the hill with all their tanks, their 2 heavy tanks and the T-54 at the same time as that right side push, or do they try and go for this cap?
Looks like the latter is underway right now. Zamika just eases his way on. He can use that rocky outcrop on the left side of the circle as a bit of cover. He can just angle a little bit of himself over to start that cap up. He is still vulnerable from shots out towards his 1 or 2 o'clock, as it were, as a clock reference here, but still, it does protect him from the bulk of the forces that Supreme have left back in their base, namely that 5100 of Shanish and Nuclear behind that rock. That's good odds right now for the Zamika, but still, shots come in towards him from Griffin, I think it was, going to stop him from really setting up there. His Synergy maybe haven't even really laid the groundwork to get away with something like this.
No, the T-37's got super bad camo value, so you can't put it in that cap without getting spotted. So Synergy, it was a bit of a stupid move for them. I mean, a little bit unnecessary, maybe some lack of preparation on their part. T-54s were going to go pushing forwards. Nuclear gets the first shell, but receives a couple back.
Oh, the trade's coming in here is that little wolf pack of Synergy tanks trying to take care of Nuclear, get him off the map, and they do that quite well. To be fair, John Corleone and Mihailov only banged up a little bit here. Shanish has been yet to spring his trap, but I believe
he's been spotted. Lit. Yeah, he's been spotted. That's the biggest problem there for Shanish. I mean, a lot of teams who put the 5100 there, and the fact that Synergy hasn't spotted a 5100 anywhere else on the map does kind of give the game away, but still, Synergy is just going to completely ignore that, keep Winnie Boo in that position, but have John Corleone and Mihailov in a position to support him. They've also got a T-54 and a T-32 on the hill to support him if necessary, which basically locks Shanish out of this game.
Shanish now a little bit dejected as his position being given away means Synergy can play around him, and what an important tank to have in the backlines right now. Let's see what they do with this, though. As time's ticking down, 1:33 left in this one. The cap is underway with 2 tanks here. With that IS-3 out of the picture, getting that reset is that much harder, especially with the attention of those 2, with that 1 lightweight and the 12-ton being commanded on the hill. Totobest takes a shot from Mapawales. He just sneaks up for a shot in the side. Nadine also, he's pumping out the lead over on the lower side of that hill right now, but the capture does continue. That's the main point here, as Nadine chips in well on towards Apawale. It's going to force him back away, especially with Totobest breathing down his neck with a lot of shots. But there's another lightweight there as well in the deep south. He gets some shots away, but Mihailov and Zamika huddling together, realizing that from the north could come those resetting shots. Ron and Griffin pushing in as well. Here's that big investment that teams make to get that reset. Will it be enough? Or will it be too much? That's a big question there. As Zamika and Mihailov now forced to back away, taking Ron low, but not getting him out of the picture yet. He's still standing. John Corleone is trying to respond to this one. The Phoenix is coming in from the backside as well. Jamaica drops, but so does Ron. Teams trading their lower tier 6s now. And Mihaila finds himself a little bit surrounded here, but Shanish and Griffin both drop down. Shanish really not able to make a huge impact this game, and now the 5v3 for Synergy. It's a good start for them right now, onto finishing this one off, but with only 30 seconds left, they have to spring on top of Supreme now.
Great individual play there by Phoenix to take down that T54 lightweight. So really now, it's a pretty even game. 3 versus 4, but FC Dynamo is on its own. John Coloni takes it down to 2 versus 2 versus 4 situation, but Nidin in that T32 so far at the game, he might just be a big problem. Alpha on his own once again, trying to keep back Total Best, who's on reload in that 5100. But it's just no way Synergy can lose this. They are so far ahead. They've got both of these 2 tanks of Team Supreme locked down, and they just need to surround and take them out.
That's right. They weren't able to do it, though, as time did run out. And it was well played, to be fair, by Supreme. They were getting chunked down, but they were able to spread across the map. You saw the position there, of course, from the last Supreme tank. It was in the nastiest spot on the map where everyone hides their RT in the northern side. So there it is. It is very close between these 2 teams. Synergy are taking quite a while to make their moves here. They really are. Even pushing onto that cap, we were still speculating whether they were going to sit in that eastern village or they're going to push off. We were even saying, will they go for the kill? Will they try and work from somewhere else here? They were a little bit late to go for that cap. It seems to have hurt him, and this is why we say Synergy have a proclivity for being more passive or for being more reluctant to make that move.
I didn't even see that timer then, by the way. I was like, what the hell? Is that 7 minutes gone?
Expert.
I didn't see him at all. To be fair, that happens a lot. Like, that timer is like the last thing in your mind when everything's so close, and you know, there's one versus one situation. So yeah, I mean, yeah, Team Supreme just hanging on for dear life, I guess. And you can see now, like 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the clock. You got tanks from north to south for Team Supreme, and the A1 area, which is normally artillery's kind of home stomping ground, was taken by Apar later in this game. But still, it was super close. These are some seriously close games. Synergy is working their magic right now, and this could easily go 2-2. And Synergy could walk into the next map completely even Stevens.
Well, that's the thing. The only thing Synergy are lacking right now is time. In that last game, Supreme limped away, literally crawled away from Synergy, who were looking to just try and finish them off. So the strategy was good. They moved on to the cap, but the problem is, as an attacking team, you have to be in a position where you can kill all of the opposition tanks or get the cap. Unfortunately, Synergy were neither. They realized they couldn't get the cap completed, it got reset, and then what? Yeah. You have to spring into action. You need to make a decision. It's like, we can no longer afford to cap anymore. We must move forward. We must group up and take out these tanks. It was close, though. Over-aggression from Synergy could have lost them that one even before time ran out. So, to be fair, it was played well played by Supreme to hold things out until the end.
Yeah, I think they kind of gave Synergy a little bit of a taste of their medicine with that kind of defensive lineup at the end, defensive tactics. Yep. But they did it right. On this map, I don't think you can really afford just to pick really heavy tanks and sit back in the defensive lines. I think if you're going to draw it out, which is hard on such a small map, you need to be like running all over the map, getting into awkward positions, and using those lighter tanks to run away, basically, use their speed, use their maneuverability. But anyway, we can still see how this one goes. Again, Synergy have another chance to attack. Haven't won an attacking round so far, but they came pretty close. I think if they fix those mistakes, just not being quite quick enough to the chase, not really having a good idea of where the tanks of Team Supreme are, they will be able to pick up at least one round.
All right, well,
just one round.
Too many changes here. A few less IS-3s on the board here for Synergy here. You can see that on their second attacking round, they're going to go with that 5100 there for total best. The rest lightweights plus at 37. And Supreme looking like they want to make sure they can maintain control of these islands and actually won't really worry about the middle of the map.
Yeah, so we see the same kind of start for Team Supreme as last time. Basically just setting up for the hill damage. They got Ron there to spot the hill, the rest of the tanks there just to shoot it, but Ron finds nothing. Well, he finds one thing, finds Nidin, that's it. So he's going to go forwards before he gets spotted out. Stay safe, you know that MX-12 ton is also very, very valuable tank on this map, as Phoenix starts to go forwards as well in his T54 lightweight. So at the moment, Team Supreme just holding fast.
Yeah, 12 time was the first tier 6 that I played as I ground up the French light line, which is such a bad idea for a beginner player, by the way. It's super unforgiving. But in this mode as well, it's actually a lot more potent than it is in maybe your normal battles there. It can actually have a big impact.
It's just hard because you got a bad matchmaking with light tanks.
Horrendous, and your penetration is not great. However, this time, I'll see Ron will be loading those armor-piercing rounds here. So a little bit more penetration for the 12-ton, but he's always looking for those flanking shots, the cheeky little side shots as he backs away. And Synergy now have actually pushed off the hill, so they realize, okay, we took the hill. Last time we took the hill, we worked into the Eastern Valley. You know, they pushed up onto that IS-3 at the back, and you know how it went. They weren't quite able to get things done in an applicable time frame. So this time looks like they're going to back right up here. If Phoenix gets tracked up here, he's going to have to immediately repair that one, because getting tracked as a light tank is almost certain death.
Yeah, if you're not moving the whole time in a 2-4 lightweight, you can easily get killed. But, I mean, interesting from Team Supreme. Right now, Synergy is actually reacting to what Team Supreme's doing the whole time. So it's got to be the other way around. Otherwise, Team Supreme are going to be working towards another draw victory, which would be pretty incredible stuff for them. I don't think we've had that this season on at least Minds. So let's see what Synergy does. They need to take the fight to them. It does look like they are going to go to that eastern side with the T-54s and a T-37. So same as they did last time. And last time they found Nuclear very easy. I think easily that's what Nuclear will be wanting to change in his IS-3, just staying alive for a little bit longer. Shanish is very much aware of that, does get spotted on the cross though by the T-54, and that's going to cause him some issues, as it was an issue for Team Supreme last time, him just not doing much in the round.
Yeah, his presence being known was actually one of the things that really hurt him, that really hampered him from being effective there, because now he knows. He's like, if I poke out, what are the odds of me just getting shot to pieces right now, especially with those 3 or 4 traces coming towards him as he just got behind the building? So Synergy are all too aware of his positioning. As the lone 5100, Shanish is responsible for the most amount of front-loaded burst damage in those fights. What he's going to try and do is just be adding on top, just some, just cherry on top in terms of damage. So Mika gets taken out there as he sort of was making his way towards the cap, and this has provoked a response from Synergy.
Yeah, Synergy is just pushing the 4 T-54s, not the 3 this time. So they're going to try and take down Nuclear in a hold-down position as quickly as possible. But Winnie the Pooh does retract back, goes towards the cap, going to put the pressure on there, as these 3 have got a lot on their shoulders. Yeah,
I mean, he can start the count while Nuclear is busy right now, and Shanish is also back behind that shed. So, again, Nuclear will expect this. This has been done to him once already. This time, Synergy, they've only got 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Keep that number in your mind right now, and watch that timer as it does tick down, because Synergy have to be decisive. They need to be proactive, and their execution has to be quick and clean if they want to bring this round into their favor. Nuclear now back around the rock, and this is fine. John Corleone was in his same position and got too aggressive when Synergy were defending. Nuclear has made the correct decision here, and those attacking tanks from Synergy are forced to back away. What they're going to do, probably try and get the cap. Then it's going to get reset. Then they're going to be forced to do something else. A bit of a fadeaway, a bit of a fake here for John Corleone and Lilith, and as they hang around to try and get some shots on towards Nuclear.
We've also got a push in the middle from Phoenix and Apwile. Those 2 T-54 lightweights. Just going to try and take down T-54 lightweight of Nidin, and I think he will fall.
Yeah, he will drop down. He gets one shot towards Apwile. He goes down towards 600, but he gets taken down. It's a plain and simple overmatch there in the middle of the map. Now Phoenix and Apwile make their way up. Totobest trying to get some shots on the rear, and Mihailov will try and join him, but Synergy a little bit fighting on 2 fronts right now.
Yeah, they're fighting on 2 fronts, and Synergy are just, well, Team Supreme are keeping Synergy kind of cornered and locked in. Those C-54s can't move, but Mihailov might be able to just find Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, Apwile is also quite low here as he does get his reload. His shot just misses him now. Getting those tanks out of the game for Synergy at this point will be crucial right now. And Supreme are already thinking, what's a contingency? What happens if we run out of tanks? But right now, that doesn't seem to be a factor as they have more. And Lilith does go low. Mihailov just drops down now, and things are starting to turn against Synergy. Totobest and Apwile going head-to-head on the hill. Oh, Totobest missed such a crucial shot towards Apwile. He still gets him, but he could have used that other shot now towards Griffin or someone else. The 5100 of Totobest and the 54 Lightwind of Winnie the Pooh, the last 2 tanks standing. Totobest is on reload though. 33 seconds still left to go. Winnie the Pooh is going to get pushed onto. He's going to get taken out. 2 bounces though. Cheeky stuff. He's looking for Griffin, but he's going to get forced around the corner if he doesn't want to take more damage. And now Winnie the Pooh is happy to take the 1v1 right now for FC Dynamo. At least for the moment, it's going to buy some time for Totobest to get that reload. Winnie the Pooh put some crucial damage on the table.
Yeah, if Totobest had 6 shells in his auto-loader, it might have even been Synergy's games, because Griffin and Phoenix would have been taken down, but still the problem would have been always Nuclear and FC Dynamo. They're not particularly one-shots for Totobest, so he might be able to find FC Dynamo, just get tracked.
He'll probably get the second shot before FC Dynamo manages to get his, but Totobest, that means he has 4 shots left. And he actually, to be fair, he could dispense them and get the kills here. But Nuclear now is just keeping Totobest busy as here comes the cavalry from behind. This is going to be it. Team Supreme going to make it 3-1. It's a good little strategy, a good adaptation. That's how you take care of a lone 5100 when you've got low health tanks. It's 3-1. I mean, when you see 3-1 scorelines, you don't necessarily think, man, it's super close. You kind of think, well, 3-1 is the maximum deficit that any team has been able to come back from this season. Yep. Not saying much, really, to the team with only 1 point, but it's Synergy, and they've given us some great rounds so far.
Yeah, I think that was their weakest round in that whole matchup, and to be honest, I think they also deserve to get a 2-2 because they were really good. They put a lot of pressure onto Team Supreme, who have been playing Mines day in, day out throughout the whole season.
Overtime,
they haven't been picking Ruhenberg so much or Himmelsdorf. They've been loving their Mines. So 3-1 is not bad for them. 2-2 would have been a great result for Synergy. But in that last round, like the two T54s of Phoenix and Apple had made such a big difference. Last time they were kind of left to sit back passively and try and get the sniping shots onto tanks on the hill. But this time they went straight forward. Totalbest only got 1 shot, pushing onto, I believe, Mielov, and took him down very, very quickly indeed. So great stuff from him. And then it was a 2 versus 2 situation, which of course those T54s lost. But by that time, Team Supreme have pushed in, taking care of those 2 T54s around the cap, and obviously without any support from the hill, they were just sitting ducks.
Yeah, and this is where things were in the balance still. Supreme had the numbers. Apple was low, Phoenix goes down, but the investment Synergy make for those 2 tanks is extreme. Shanish, an important factor here. Look at him making shots. He got a couple out there as well towards John Corleone. Nuclear did work as well. This is where it sort of turns sour for Synergy.
Yeah, this is great stuff. And FC Dynamo finds Iliot. So this is the point, right? Total Best is he finally finds Apwao, but because he had to use all his shells onto Phoenix and Apwao, like FC Dynamo is having a bit of a field day this round. He's just charging through Synergy's line. Yeah. So great play by them. Team Supreme coming from 2 angles, putting their 2 best individual players, in my opinion. You know, Phoenix was responsible for GG Well Played's individual kind of cause, and Apwell's Apwell. Getting them together on a kind of Wolfpack mission, going for those individual fights, getting on like a 3 versus 2 situation, coming out on top, and then now we're moving on to Himmelsdorf in a 3-1. Good position for Team Supreme.
Back in the day, we used to sing the praises of Phoenix and International. Think Denova, think GGWP. Things have changed now. Phoenix and Applewell is an even scarier combination, probably the scariest in the league. And Melly, this is what we've been saying as well. It's 3-1, but it doesn't really sort of feel like it should be. But at the end of the day, Supreme are making the finishes. Their execution's been cleaner.
Exactly, and at the end of the day, the number at the end counts pretty much.
Yeah,
the scoreline that stands, no matter what or how close the rounds before that were. And people at home been adjusting their votes regarding a much closer ending, but still sticking with 78% for Supreme. So people will be heading into a short break before we come to a map which you haven't seen before the whole season, Himmelsdorf. And yes, last time to get your votes in, facebook.com/WGLEU. Vote for your favorite team by picking your team logo, predicting the exact scoreline in the text field below, and yeah, pressing. Do you say pressing your thumbs for like wishing?
Crossing your fingers.
Crossing your fingers. Okay.
Yeah, I don't. Okay. Is that a luck thing?
Yeah, but you have to put it like on top.
I think it's just a German thing, to be honest.
Pretty much, yeah.
Everyone else goes cross your fingers.
Really?
Yeah, touch wood, cross your fingers.
I mean, you can say that in German as well, but but the more common thing is to
Germans are
push
weird,
your thumbs.
They're talking about horses and farmers.
You have German, Ollie.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're born in Germany.
Don't deny it. Yes, you are.
You have half German in you, don't you?
No.
No?
Yeah.
Yes.
He does.
Look.
Come on, Ollie. Give me some of this.
Look, he's born in Germany. He's like acting all.
It doesn't matter where you're born, it's where you're brought up.
Born in Hamburg.
Of course.
Was it Hamburg?
No.
No, Hamburg. It was like down south.
It wasn't Stuttgart, though, was it?
No. I'm not telling you where I'm born,
Close to lake.
No.
There are plenty of lakes down there.
I don't think I even care where you were born, to be honest. Whatever.
We don't even want to know it.
Yeah,
people.
good.
Tweet us where you were born. Or use the hashtag WGLEU because you are much more interesting than that guy.
But tweet us, where do you think Ollie's born?
Oh, that's even funnier.
Let's see if we can get it right.
Hell.
Would not surprise me.
Okay, people, break 5 minutes, and then we'll be back with Supreme versus Synergy on Himmelsdorf.
G'day everyone, welcome back to the WGL EU Week 11, and we are, as I like to say every week, getting towards the pointy ends of our games tonight. Our final one is underway, and it's a deceptive score, and I'll be honest with you right now. 3-1 in favour of Supreme doesn't really tell the whole story, but they have the finishing touches from Supreme have been better in their games, and justifiably they're up by 2 rounds.
Exactly. Team Supreme have won 3 out of 4 games, and I think they can take Himmelsdorf as well. I mean, the problem is if Synergy don't get themselves sorted here, it will go downhill. But it's not like we've seen Team Supreme or Synergy really play good teams for a long time on this map. Yeah. Like, I think Synergy played Wusa and came 3-1 in favour towards them. Not a great result. I mean, Wusa are in 11th place right now because of the victory we saw today by No Mercy, and Team Supreme played Utopia. They won all 4 rounds there. That's a lot better, considering today we saw Utopia play some good rounds as well against Virtus Pro on Himmelsdorf. So we have that kind of situation where these two could bring out really good or really bad tactics on this map. But Team Supreme at the same time, they're one of these teams that loves to play with these T54s. And if Apwow's not playing in an AMX 5100, playing in a T54, like, I don't feel comfortable watching him.
So you're not really that keen to see him outside of that one on a 5100 and IS3?
I do remember that insane clutch he had in that 5100 in Himmelsdorf when they were playing a few weeks back now.
A few weeks, yeah.
And that highlight will of course be on our YouTube channel once this online phase is finished. But yeah, I think Himmelsdorf is one of those kind of maps where it does favour like the slightly lower teams because it's a little bit more rigid in the play style. Yeah, okay, you need to get everything sorted, but like on your steps and your mines where you have like Phoenix and Apau on the flank, 2 versus 3 situations, that doesn't always happen on Himmelsdorf.
That's right. You really do get those at all, to be honest. Most of the time, it's one team that generally capitulates to another on the push. It's about, teams get one overmatch and they go from one overmatch to another overmatch to another overmatch, and they constantly have sort of greater numbers in those particular games. But now, Melly, we might be seeing the conclusion of this series right here. We spoke about it a little bit before the break. Obviously, votes are closing at the start of this map, so people still have a little bit of time.
So head over to our Facebook page, facebook.com/WGLEU, and hand in your last second votes. The last votes for tonight. The next vote will be available on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, as said, don't be sad. Next try is on Thursday. Get in your predictions in the little text field below. Send it off and hope for the best at this point. But let me tell you something. Most of the time, it's better to get involved earlier, because the earlier you put in your predictions, the better your chances are that no one else guesses it before you, because we're only rewarding the first 3 correct predictions of every match. So people get involved. Another way of getting involved, if you don't have Facebook, or if you don't use it, or if you don't like it, or whatever. Twitter. Exactly, whatever other reason there is. That's what I was trying to say. Hashtag WGLEU to get involved. Send us pictures, send us bananas, send us tanks.
Bananas?
Send
us bananas.
I like actual bananas, actually, yeah.
And we're sending them in game.
That's right. I'm going to be jumping into game in just a
moment. We are going to be going on to banana because we're in Himmelsdorf. 8-line, mate.
8-line. Is that the banana?
Yeah, it looks like a banana.
Do we call it banana, though?
No, I don't think we call it the 8-line.
I think I used to call it banana. No, back in Asia, we did have it. We did call it banana, but that's about it. It is
on
slightly.
Rodenburg, there is banana.
Is it?
There's a half-moon circle like that.
I guess it's like a banana, yeah. But yeah, we have these call-outs for those maps. Teams have their own ones as well, and it depends on... It could be a lot of things. It could be named after players or places or other things as well. You don't need to keep them secret. It's not like code. It's just what is easiest for teams to remember. But we're going to jump in this one now, ladies and gentlemen. Himmelsdorf is going to be our last, or potentially last map for this night, of course. We will have a tiebreaker if necessary. But so far, Team Supreme look confident to make this to 5 rounds.
So Team Supreme on the attack, 71% win ratio for them this season on the attacking side. As I said, the last time they played this map in a proper kind of fashion was against Utopia, where they managed to win 4 rounds in a row after being at a deficit. So they've really come back to win on this map before. So they have a good chance against Synergy here. Synergy playing for a lot more though, and also pretty good win ratio, about 72% on the defensive side. So I'd say this will actually be an epic map.
Epic map. That's what I like to hear. Let's get me fired up for this one already. Got my motor running. All right, so Synergy now set himself up in this top right corner here, and Supreme Well, honestly, it's a little bit of an interesting layout we're seeing from them now, mostly on that K line and a couple on the G8 corner there, just to see if anything cheesy might be happening. Synergy, I mean, a team as tactically deep as them, I'm sure they're not above throwing some Parmesan in the mix every now and then. But for the moment, they seem to be playing it fairly placidly as well. Phoenix is up on the hill for Supreme, so we'll be able to spot out any sort of movements here. But Synergy are not showing themselves. You can see, in fact, their positioning right now is such that it will deny any spots coming in from a 54 lightweight or a 12-ton up on that hill, using those buildings, and they're not firing a shot.
Yeah, so I guess the T-54 is really the main factor here for Team Supreme. A very good hull-down tank, and I think that's one of the reasons why they use it, of course, along with that speed. It's very fast indeed. It can really get into awkward positions and get from A to B very quickly indeed. So let's see what it does for Team Supreme, if they can make it work. Obviously, it's still a lot of work to do. Phoenix just making a quick blind shot there. Not really any real reason. I mean, he's got plenty of shells to play around with, so he doesn't have to really worry. But still, let's see what they can do. They are set up for a west side push. They didn't go straight across, obviously, because they don't want to get spotted there. They got the MX-12T, which is really Team Supreme most normal pickup on this map. I don't think they ever really use the T-37, which you see a lot of other teams pick. So they're not really giving anything away by the MX-12T, even though maybe with a lot of other teams, if you pick an MX-12T, that western side is the preferred side because it's got such a low profile.
Ron now making his way up here. He will be spotting Zamika out, and Shanish and Applewell will be joining as well with Ron. So this is interesting. A lot of teams, at least initially punch a heck of a lot of tanks down on this side of the map. But we've seen this before. And I don't know if it was Penta who set up their tanks all on the 8 line. There goes Zamika, drops down. Nice little double tap from those IS-3s. He didn't know what hit him. Maybe I think it was Penta or maybe even Wusa that set 5 tanks up on that 8 line and just waited there and didn't move them out until they sort of had to. And I think they actually won that round, although that particular strat didn't work out. Nonetheless, Synergy playing super passive, not working this western side at all. And now Ron is able to move up and start this cap.
Yeah, cap really underway now for Team Supreme. They've got there with basically no damage done. Normally you see more than just the IS-3 in a position. You see, an MX-5100, an A or 1 or 2. So really good stuff here for Team Supreme. They got to the positions they want without taking too much damage. Now they just need to hold them.
Okay, well, obviously now, if Synergy want to stop this cap, they actually have to push down. They need to come down the 3 line or closer to the train line. And either one of those approaches is being watched by Team Supreme right now. Look at those the 2 IS-3s and the T-32 on that G line. They're ready for a push down that 3 line. The IS-3 and the 5100 is there for the possible but less likely chance that Synergy try and push across on towards the train track area and come down towards that cap. This is a great setup for Supreme.
I would say the most obvious choice would be to push along the 8 line. They got the IS-3 and the 5100 there, push them straight across. The T-54 Lightweight, 250 average damage per shell. It won't be able to do a lot against an IS-3 and a 5100. So it'll really be up to the T-32 and the 2 IS-3 sitting up into the 3-4 line to actually take them down and potentially stop a reset of the cap.
Applewell getting double tapped there, make a triple in that IS-3. That is potentially nasty for Supreme here. You said you're not always quite sure about Applewell if he's not playing that lightweight, and you can see now Applewell now forced to back right on away behind that protection there. As Ollie just having a bit of fun with his own spectator cam. Off towards the side. Now Shanish, Ron's still on this cap, but this is ticking down now. Just the one take is getting it done. Synergy have to push right now. They have to go towards this cap, and they need to get on and stop this one. They've only got 10 seconds left. They can't push down the 3 line either. They have to make some ballsy attempt out on towards the train line side. They have to stop Ron right now. They have only 5 seconds left. They must connect these shots, but they're being put straight towards the crucible there. Ninan gets completely blown up. Time is run out. Ready the poo. Oh. Yes, I think he got it. He got the reset at the last second. That's all he had to do. But Ron is still alive, and Synergy have lost so much for that push. So much.
That's the exclamation mark factor coming to the equation. I mean, they just simply managed to get it at the very last millisecond. Unbelievable stuff from them. As really, Synergy have lost so much to get the reset, but still the highlight reel is real for Synergy right now. As Ilya is pretty low in the IS-3. He will fall to Griffin at some point in time. Apro actually finds him, leaving just Mielov and Total Best. And correct myself, just Total Best in his 5100.
This is one of the biggest winning margins that we have seen all season. This is embarrassing for Synergy. 4,000 more hit points Supreme are coming into this one with. That's an utter decimation. And it's all because Team Supreme set up so well. Synergy knew they couldn't push down, but they weren't able to come up with the right answer in time. And they find themselves in this position now, just being absolutely crushed. Total Best will at least pick up Griffin. But still, that's a sad story coming out from Synergy there. And Supreme show us that they are incredibly strong on Himmelsdorf defense. One more round win, and they've won this one. And there's not going to be anything that Synergy can do about this unless they mix things up and can take Supreme by surprise.
This has actually happened before. Synergy have been in a defensive position where they've gotten their tier 6 taken out in an early stage and they've lost it in exactly the same fashion. You need that tier 6 alive because it can be that one that sneaks past the heavy tanks and gets the resets. The problem is here, Synergy has to commit so much to get the resets. It's just a matter
Where's
of...
the safe option? There is none.
There's no safe options. Team Supreme are getting the middle, they're getting every angle, and Synergy just goes straight down the 1 to 3 line, fair enough, but they just sacrifice so much. They all get absolutely wrecked here, and yeah, finally they do get the reset, but it's just simply not enough. And Apwell, you know, proves me wrong by doing 2.7k in the IS3.
He does well. He does take a big hit there. So obviously, we see 0 on the screen in game. An exclamation mark appears when you've actually achieved that, because 0 comes up when there's less than 1 second. So as soon as there's 0.99 seconds left on the cap, 0 comes up. Yeah. But it needs to be sort of fully exhausted for that to work out. So that's the way it works. To be fair, most of those tanks moving in from Supreme on the middle of the map were on the move when they made those shots in. So they did very, very well to just steady themselves and make those shots. That was just the shot to the heart, I think, of Synergy there as they tried to push in. It's a bottleneck scenario. It didn't look pretty, and that's honestly one of the most dominant displays I've ever seen over a team like Synergy here. And it's Team Supreme doing what they do best.
Yeah, you have, you know, the Phoenix and that T-54 on the hill. The hill's got like a wall around it where the moat of the castle is there. You have a T-54 there, just the turret just sticks over that perfectly, so it's just invulnerable from the lower side. So he's the one spotting, and as soon as he spots that Synergy's going forwards, and you can see as well the spots come out from the side, they're just like, bam, Team Supreme just go straight across. They catch them on the side as they do try and go safe behind like the two buildings, the rubble and the building, to get the side shots on. But yeah, great stuff from them from Team Supreme. Really loved it. I mean, today we also saw a really one-sided round as well. That was like 5.2k or something going towards Virtus Pro against Utopia. Yep. So there's been a couple of really one-sided rounds here. But yeah, I think Synergy, I mean, let's be honest here, Team Supreme got the positions they did without losing anything. Yeah. Like, they got every advantage. And I was like saying, I was like, yeah, this is already game over. There's no way that Team Synergy can win this, because they're either going to get out-capped or they're going to sacrifice too much to actually get the decap.
So many teams are committing to this Western side. Synergy just decide not to. Maybe they're too confident in the fact that they think Supreme won't bother to go that way. But it turned around and bit them in the rear end that time. Like, it really, really hurt them. 3 of their tier 8s did no damage. And IS3, there's a 5100 there, possibly a lightweight as well. 3 of these tanks did absolutely nothing. And yeah, you're going to get wrecked by 5,000 plus points when you've got 3 tanks that should be hitting around 1,500 to 2,000 points of damage, doing absolutely jack squat. Let's have a look here. Now, Synergy on the defensive side. This is their last chance. This is their last chance here. I mean, they don't have to win this game, but God, they'd love to.
Yeah, they really, really are playing well. I think, you know, for Team Supreme, it's not just about winning. I think they haven't prepared a lot for this match, and that's why some of these rounds are closer than perhaps they should be. But I think they are just playing just on basic instinct. I mean, Team Supreme are just such a good team. They are just punishing Synergy for any kind of mistake they make. They're playing the standard tactics on every single map, and maybe apart from the exception of that first round on Mines. But you've also got to remember this, right? Ron is a full-time World of Tanks player. He doesn't do anything else apart from train and, you know, live, breathe, eat World of Tanks. So there's really no reason why he wouldn't prepare for every single round. He's got plenty of time on his hands to train, to make sure his team is prepared, to get every kind of resources collected for his team, and give them all the tools they need to go on and win.
So far, so good for Ron and his merry band of tankers. This time, though, Synergy is setting up far more towards the south. They do not want to get shut out of that cap point number 1 yet, again. And you can see they're using the Dinner Turtle Best in the deep south. They'll be there to get the shots on. But Supreme, you know, this is something that you can plan for. This is what I was talking about, you know, earlier tonight. Flowcharts. You know, Team A does X, you do Y. Or whatever. Like, there's a decision matrix here that Supreme can surely have. They have to have more than one approach here. They can adapt, but there's also, you know, they've simulated this scenario. They've seen so many teams do this. They work on this Western side. I'd be very surprised if they didn't have an appropriate response, but it's about putting it into action properly. It's about making sure the shots stick when they're supposed to. Now a bit of a fight here in the bottom half as Shanish takes a shell from Nadine and isn't able to connect with one in response. That little, very narrow little piece of street there. So, you know, Supreme know that they can't exactly walk on towards the western side of the map this time around.
Yeah, you know, sometimes in 742 it was all about, you know, you gotta peak for peak efficiency, but at some point you've just got to say, no, I don't want to make that challenge. I don't want to get chunked down by the IS-3, and it's the reason why you pick the IS-3 in this map, because of that high damage caliber where you will only have one shot to make and you have to make it count. So you might as well go for the highest damage gun in the game. It's like one of those things when like the T-30 was first released in World of Tanks, everyone's like, it's got no armor, it's not going to work on Himmelsdorf. And everyone was like, wait a minute, like this tank is doing a serious amount of damage. It's even out damaging the mouse, which has got the most armor in the game. So it's really like a game where sometimes just the individual player plus the tank characteristics equals a certain, you know, a certain fact, a certain goal, a certain attribute, a certain variable. So this is really good for Team Supreme. They're winning the exchanges, but yeah, that was a bit of an unfortunate shot for him.
Super cute from Nadine. He's actually firing through a broken window in that building, getting 2 shots on towards nuclear there, and that's it's the 1%ers like that one that can really help in the long run here. Synergy, Winnie the Pooh, a little bit damaged up. Okay, the same could be said of nuclear on the side of Team Supreme. There's nothing really that we could say as casters that would, you know, be influencing the game going forward right now. It's going to be the next minute to minute and a half that's really important. Synergy stretched out like a line of scrimmage there on this western side. They are not going to allow Supreme to get in. But Supreme, conversely, they can opt for the northern cap if they want to. They have options here. It's about which one they choose and how they make it work.
I think Nadine's going for that window shot again, but he might be paying the price in a second, as he does try and go through in that AMX 5100. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, Synergy seemed a bit lost right now. It seems to be like a headless chicken, kind of going here, there, everywhere. And if they don't be careful, one of them will just be absolutely wrecked by a Team Supreme member that just comes around the corner. Cap has started though, and Team Supreme do need to react to that.
They've given a lot of ground over here, a lot of ground. We're now 28% in towards this capture progress now, and John Corleone, Winnie the Pooh, have to come out around quite a nasty angle to even get a look at the cap right now. You can see Nadine and Toto Best in the south. Keep an eye on them. They'll work the 8 line. They're going to try and make the entry there. But honestly, Supreme have kind of just outmaneuvered Synergy here. They've been able to get in on towards this cap with, you know, fairly minimal loss, and Nadine has taken an absolute thrashing in the middle of the map. 933 damage taken off him. He needs to be healthy. He needs to get to this fight and make those shots stick. But there goes Shanish. He goes down. That's a 5100 off the map, but not after he left a lasting mark on Nadine. And Dynamo now is going to add to that one as well. But Supreme feeling comfortable. They're on this capture point, and John Corleone, Iliad, Winnie the Pooh, they all have to push in quite a long way to influence this progress, but they do get the reset on towards Ron. He's slowed down, and that was Zamika bravely getting the reset.
Yeah, so this is going back and forwards. I don't know exactly. I think Synergy's, you know, they lost a lot of HP, but they're still a tank head in terms of tier 8, so we have to see how that one works out. Nuclear doing as best as he can just to keep Apoel safe, and SC Dynamo is going to come from a different angle.
The reset, so where they're going to come from, because Ron is around the corner here. The shots come across, and John Corleone does go down. Nuclear responds on towards him now. Apoel off to the side. He's on the periphery, but he can still make those shots. When this is where they count right now, the next minute or so is so important. This capture progress from Team Supreme hasn't exactly been inspiring. They're not really getting it done. They're taking a lot of damage, but speaking of taking a lot of damage, Toto Best does just that. He pushes around the corner. Phoenix gets a finish on him right now. It's a 4v4 situation. Team Supreme have the health advantage right now, but capping is becoming less and less of a possibility for them as time gets thinner and thinner. Applewell finally goes down, but not before a parting gift towards Mihailov to take him low. But Ron is going to be the guy continuing the cap, but he's got a lot of big tanks to deal with right now. Griffin and Phoenix, they're peeling off. Phoenix spent a lot of time up on that hill. He wasn't able to contribute. And I think Supreme are in trouble here.
Ron were a little bit late to get off the cap in that situation. He should have got off that a lot quicker, but he does get away with it as Synergy are very tentative to go forwards, perhaps smelling that they could actually take victory here. But Griffin, with that high IS3, has found the side of Mielov and Winnie the Pooh.
Not too bad at all. Iliad trying to respond back towards Phoenix, and he will connect with that shot. But Phoenix is still quite healthy. Griffin, it dealt with 2 shots towards him now. He might be able to turn this around. He gets a shot towards Winnie the Pooh. He takes him out. Nadine still not quite on reload, but Rod manages to finish him off now. It's a 3v2 situation. 30 seconds left. 30 seconds for Team Supreme to take down Mihailov and Iliad. You can see Griffin's going hunting. Iliad should know by now that he has to get the heck out of Dodge. But if he turns around, if he exposes his rear to Phoenix, it could be fatal. He has to stand and fight. Phoenix will have the reload first. He can get the finish. Supreme, they can turn this around.
They could actually win this one if Phoenix gets his next shot. He does, but Mielov is the next problem. 14 seconds left on the clock.
Mihailov back in towards the corner. Ron, the captain, Ron, comes in for the finish of Team Supreme. Turn around what was going to be a losing game. It looked like at the start there. there, especially towards the finish. Supreme, brain fart, I mean, coming out here from Synergy. My God, 5-1. The turnaround was intense.
It's unbelievable. I mean, this is the thing. Team Supreme, even when they're down, they can come back and take an advantage. That peek by Griffin in the middle was just absolutely on point, doing so much damage. And I said this, you know, we had Ron sitting in the account for so long. He was just sitting there. I was like, what? The Synergy just goes forwards. Ron is going to be cancelled out by the IS3s. But Synergy just... they kind of lost their bearing after they killed Apoel. They didn't go forwards. They didn't make that advantage work for them. Instead, they just got stuck in the headlights like a bunch of does. And that allowed Team Supreme just to get back into the game, get good angles, and just take them down one by one.
It was those two bounced or missed shots coming towards Griffin that was just ridiculous. I mean, you got to hand it, I think, to Phoenix, sorry, who got involved. He came off the hill. You could say it was a bit late. He was still doing work. He was a presence there. Yeah. Ron was still standing as well. There was just enough time to get the finish. He got 3 kills as well, by the way, with only 600 damage. So he was getting the finish, and that's important as well, especially when you've got these tanks that are still floating around. You're getting low rolls. They're still on like 100 health. It's like, still like on the game. We need to deal with that. Ron was there. He was on point. He was on site, getting those shots to finish off.
That's exactly what he's for. I mean, he's a TFT4 lightweight. He's not there to do the damage. You got an IS3 which almost does like almost double the damage, like 66% more. He's just there to keep Synergy guessing, keep them down, not making sure that they get the peaks they want, and he does a great job. This is a really interesting situation where you have like a 3 versus 4 situation, but Team Supreme just don't manage to do the damage they need, and Griffin and Ron just trying to make it work for them. Total Best coming from behind. Maybe should have found Ron in that situation, but definitely worried about the damage Phoenix can do from the hill. So, I mean, back and forth game, really good one. Massive shout out for Phoenix, who did almost 2.9k, 2,848 damage in his IS3. And it's about those individual players stepping out, making sure that their voices are heard, and never count out any of the players from Team Supreme, because they will punish you for it.
Oh, those last few seconds were incredibly tight as well. But those mistakes being made, Supreme backing away, looked like they were struggling a bit. They were running out of time here, but the problem was that there were IS3s that were low. If Synergy wanted to survive, they had to get out of there. The problem is you have to turn your IS3 the heck around and then get out. I mean, yeah, the acceleration of the IS3 is better than most heavies, but still, it would have been very, very difficult to do so. I love Phoenix swooping off the hill there. That's a perfect finish, really. You can't put it past Supreme right now. They are without a doubt looking like the absolute strongest team in Europe, as if we had any doubt beforehand. 5-1 win here over Synergy. I mean, that's nothing to be sneered at. Yeah,
11-11 this season. They've won every single match. They've gone for a couple of tiebreakers, and that's it. So they really are like unbeaten. They're the new Virtus Pro. They've taken Virtus Pro's crown and just torn their name off, stamped Team Supreme on it, and are going to be going to the season finals as the first seed and potentially take the whole thing. They are in a very good position to do so.
So, this is the ladder as of this last game, and as you can see, Supreme up the top there. Honestly, only 2 points short of an absolutely perfect record. They lost 2 of those away in tiebreaker victories. Unassailable position right now.
Yeah, Tornado and Virtus Pro were the only 2 who really came close to beating them.
That's right. And I mean, speaking of those 2, Tornado Rocks is a team we're going to be looking at definitely as we move into our games next week. I mean, yeah, at the top and the bottom of the ladder, placings are still yet to be decided. That is going to be a massive game. I mean, all 3 are going to be great games as well, because ASAP Strong CM is going to decide who gets relegated as well. If ASAP win that one, they can still keep off the bottom.
Yeah, that's a big game. I mean, it's always the same at the end of every season, but this one's especially close. So we got Kazna and Tornado Rocks, whoever wins that one will be going into the finals automatically. We'll have to play the pre-playoffs, which again happening on Saturday and Sunday this week. If Kansas Crew do it, they'll be going through. If Tornado Rocks do it, they'll maintain their position in second. Then we have the Penta versus Wusa game, the final one of the day. If Penta win that, they will be going into the pre-playoffs.
Yeah, the 6th place.
Even after losing against Sting in that tiebreaker, so they will be getting 6th place. Thanks to Utopia not winning against Virtus Pro today.
That's right. So everything's still up in the air, Melly. Crazy stuff.
It's crazy
games tonight as well.
Usually we have, like, at the end of the season, we have a rough idea of what will be happening or who's going to the group stage, and the last matches are just played out because they have to be played out to get those relegation spots. But the group stage last season was already set at this point. So it stays exciting until the very last match, which is awesome and describes this season perfectly. And people at home, thank you so much for getting involved. Thank you for all your predictions. 97% correct. Congratulations. The winners will of course be announced in a few days. And as said, thank you so much for getting involved. We love reading from you, and Twitchert, you're amazing.
Well, thank you very much, of course. And now, Oliver, mate, any last words, any comments to make? I mean, next match day is going to be huge. Teams like Kazan have a couple more days left to prepare. Exciting times.
I think today we got the expected results. I think today was going to be the more expected day, the more predictable day.
Yep.
I think Thursday will be completely open. Whoever turns up on that particular day will just be able to get so much and lose so much as well.
It's funny, we said expected day, but that middle result there is quite a surprising one.
Sorry, yeah. I mean, I guess No Mercy versus Ding, but then no one could predict that Ding would have so many issues with their lineup. You know, Shockish, their main caller, not playing. Yep. That's a huge result for No Mercy there.
So let's quickly, before we finish up, have another look at the upcoming matches for next week, next match day on Thursday, and just remind you what we're going to be heading in towards. It's going to be kicking off ASAP Strong Siema. Like you said, important game. Going to decide who gets relegated. Tornado Rocks Kazna Crew, important game. Going to decide who gets into that auto berth spot for the finals. And Pentasports versus Wusa is going to decide who makes it into that pre-playoff section. Intense games, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be back on Thursday, of course, and Lauren will be joining us here after a short break. So we look forward to that one. Some great games to come, ladies and gentlemen. Same time, same place, as always. But for now, good night. We'll see you on the battlefield.